Howdy y'all, we got the Bulldog on the channel. What we're going to be talking about right now is extra repairs. You know, you bring something in, you think you already know what's wrong. I'm talking about the customer now. They think they already know what's wrong. You know, get this part, have it ready for me so we can get this in and out real quick. Well, even if you really know how to diagnose it yourself and have a pretty good idea, that doesn't mean that you're right. We've got a vehicle in here. He diagnosed it himself as a bad wheel bearing. Go ahead and get a wheel bearing coming. And this was the one I talked about here yesterday, that it was towed here. It was towed here because, oh, it's so horrible, you can't drive it. Okay. We need to get it in here and find out, you know, what all we're going to need. Well, then they said, we'll get the keys to you this afternoon. And then the next day came, and the next day came, and then we got a phone call. What time do you close? I told them, because we close an hour later than a lot of other places. Okay, well, we'll get there, and we'll give you a call if we're going to be a little late. Okay. No phone call. They never showed up. And finally, 2 days after that, here they come in with a key. So now, we're going to put it in the rotation. Not jumping in front of anybody. We're going to put it in the rotation to get it up on the lift and find this problem. Well, that was 2 days after that, because we had stuff scheduled. We knew it was going to be there. We could get it in, get it out, and be done. Well, got it in, stayed late, got it apart, and this is more than they think. Here's the thing. This wheel bearing here is supposed to turn right here. As you can see, the whole thing, the outside of the bearing is turning. It has spun inside the hub and ruined, the hub is locked to the bearing, and the outside of the bearing is turning, which has ruined the knuckle. Well, we have to get a new knuckle because there's no way to make this work. There's no way to fix it that's worth any money. So what we're going to do is find a used part. New part is high. Cost prohibitively high. So we're looking for a used part. Well, this car's a turbo, which makes something different. I assume it's the axle size, which means then the hub size, which means then the bearing size. So, I mean, that just goes one thing after another. You know, do we get a standard and do this and then change this and then change this, and then you don't exactly know what you have. We can find the non-turbos all over the place, but we don't want to screw it up. This is a part that we've seen a lot of repeat failures on, so we're probably going to have to be doing it again at some point, or somebody else is going to have to do it again. They're going to need to know what's there. But the reason that I come up with this is we're having so much trouble finding a used part. We finally did come up with a used part, but the availability, the window is narrow. Meaning, because you can't find any of them, when you do find one, they tend to not last. They are something that will move fairly quickly. So if you don't jump on it and say, yes, send it to me, somebody else will. Well, prices vary widely. Whenever you're getting work done on a vehicle, what is the first thing that you want to know? How much? Second thing you want to know, when will it be done? Well, in this instance, we can't give you an idea of how much it's going to cost, because we're searching for availability. You know, we went through 4 different salvage yards with nothing. Not one part. And when we finally did find one, it's a halfway decent price, but it's 4 days away. So then you call the customer. Well, the customer's at work, the customer's unavailable, you leave a message, maybe they call you back in 20 minutes, maybe they call you back in 2 days, you don't know. So in these instances, that's why we end up having to just give a ballpark. It's going to cost around this much, but it might be more, possibly less, but we don't know. And as far as the time frame, we can't tell you because we're at the mercy of somebody else. We ran into this a few years ago on replacing an engine on a Land Rover Discovery. He wanted a used motor. Well, okay. We would call, get a hold of somebody that had one, get a price, call the customer. The customer would call us back within a day or two. Say, okay, go ahead. And then we would call the salvage yard that we just talked to 2 days before. It's gone. We sold it. They can't hold something without money in hand. That's business. You can't afford to sit there with the possibility of somebody paying you whenever you have somebody standing there with money. So what we ended up doing on that guy was a price range, a mileage range, and we had to make our own decision, and he had to deal with it. Whether he liked it or not, that was how it was going to go. But there's a little explanation. That's probably what we're going to have to do here. The car is no jewel. I mean, the front bumper is gone. It's a kind of a low quality car to begin with. So they're not going to want to spend hardly anything on it. We don't know if they'll even go for the part that we found this time, even though our cost is not even 3 figures. So we're just going to have to give a range, and we can't even give it a time frame. So figured I'd shoot you our side of it, give a little explanation. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell notification, share it around. We'll talk to you later.